My name is Kate Johnson. I'm 46 years old. I'm the Senior Director for Student Engagement, and my hometown is Wethersfield, Connecticut.
Could you explain a little bit more about your occupation? What is that exactly?
Sure. So I have the pleasure of working with the Key Center for Community Engaged Learning, Student Transition and Family Programs, and the Ignite the First Year Experience Program. And we together work to provide opportunities to connect with community, to create a sense of belonging, create a network of support on campus, support students as they transition to life here on campus. And we also work a little bit with families and community members, community partners, to help bridge that distance between campus and the community.
How'd you get started with the Red Cross and doing the blood drive?
Well, I used to work at Appalachian State, and we did a homecoming blood drive up there, and I worked with them for about 10 years. And so when I came to UNCA about 6 years ago, the Red Cross realized that I was at a new institution and approached me. At that time, the blood drives were with a student group, and the student group was feeling overwhelmed. So it seemed like a great solution to have the blood drives run out of the Key Center to support students in that way. And I've been doing them ever since.
You enjoy it?
I do.
Yeah?
I do. There's nothing like, I think, I consider myself a blood nerd, but there's so many fascinating aspects of blood donation. Clearly the obvious, we can't manufacture blood.
Right.
You have to get it from people. And so generous people who are willing to give literally of themselves is the only way to support the people we love that might need it in if they're having major surgery or if they've been in an accident. And I'm just fascinated by how many people we know, maybe we're not aware of, have needed blood, but you just never know the impact of that blood donation can have.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so I understand right now we're in a blood deficit, is that correct? What exactly does that mean?
That means broadly that people who need blood might not get it. So there's different levels, and I don't know the specifics. Gail with the Red Cross can help you with that. But essentially, the way a student once explained it to me, he had been in an accident and he was given 0 chance of survival to make it through the night. And so had there been a blood shortage, he might not have been prioritized to get blood if there were people who had a higher rate of survival to get it. So to have that blood on the shelves ready for emergencies and unexpected events is really important because you can cancel elective surgeries and things like that, but if there is enough of a deficit that people who are really injured and need it can't get it, then it can prevent tragedies to have a surplus.
So are there actual hospitals at the moment without blood in them?
That I cannot answer. I don't think so. I think it might mean the difference between, like, if there's a large, if there's an incident that takes up a lot of blood, they might not have the stores, the supplies to cover other emergencies that happen. I'm not too familiar with the ins and outs, but
okay.
Yeah, the risk is that folks who need it might not be able to get it.
And what's the Red Cross doing to solve this issue?
They are recruiting their hearts out. Red Cross right now is offering $20 gift cards through Amazon to donors. They almost always offer a t-shirt, snacks and food. We offer pizza, and really just a sense of community. The thing I love most about blood drives on UNC Asheville's campus is that so many students are just showing up to donate because someone needs it and they need help, and there's no ulterior motive, there's no extra credit or they're not being required to do it for class or for a club. They're just doing it out of the good of their hearts, goodness of their hearts. And I really appreciate that, because it's a lot. It takes a lot to get past the fear of the unknown. If you've never donated before, you don't know what the process is like, or you might might be not excited about needles, or you might not be really interested in being around, seeing the sight of blood. And so it takes a lot to show up. It's not like you're just showing up to meet people, you're showing up to donate blood. And just so many of our students are willing to do that without, a moment hesitation.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Some people hear a problem in the world and they don't really process the gravity of it. How urgent is the blood deficit?
I can't speak to the current deficit, but I do believe it takes a lot for the Red Cross to declare a blood shortage, and so to know that there is a shortage means that unless people donate, people who need the blood might not get it. And I don't know the specifics, but
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's fine.
I think it's pretty urgent, because anyone who's had cancer, any sort of major surgery like heart surgery, many women who have had children, a lot of people benefit from blood infusions, and so to have those stores on hand is really important.
Why do you think people don't give blood as much as they do? Is it the fear? Is it like distrust maybe? Like what do you think?
It could be. My experience has been fear, fear of needles, a lot of fear of the unknown, of just not knowing what it entails, not knowing how your body will react, not knowing how it physically feels after donating. And I think we're able to help students process that. If they show up and ask questions. But I think everyone has their reasons. I think a lot of folks are nervous about not feeling well, and sort of how they might react. Some students are afraid of fainting, and all of those things are possibilities, but when donors do everything they need to get good sleep, eat, drink plenty of water, people have, the majority of the time have a really good experience.
Are you interested in conspiracies at all?
Conspiracies?
Yeah, like aliens and clones and stuff like that.
No, but I'm interested to hear if you are.
I am actually, and I know a lot of people who are.
Yeah.
And I've heard people talk about, don't give your blood because they're gonna clone you, or like now they have your DNA and they can do whatever they want with it, stuff like that. It's just goofy. But like for those people, what exactly is the process? Like what happens after they have the needle in their arm and the blood is out of them? What happens to it?
Sure. It's been a while since I've thought about this, but so after people donate, their blood is bagged and shipped to, I believe, Charlotte, where there is a facility that's the closest one. It goes through varieties of testing to make sure, it tells you your blood type. It can test for all different things, but communicable diseases is a major one, and there's different tests for that. And then once it's sort of verified that it's safe to move on, they will give it to different hospitals. If there is a disaster somewhere, like a major natural disaster, they can ship blood to that region. If the disaster wiped out their supplies, or if there's mass injuries and things like that. So that's the general process for what happens.
And how do you feel as a member of this organization about the importance of blood donations? Is it near and dear to your heart? Have you had experience with someone who needs blood donations?
Yes, and it's fascinating. I have not personally needed to be a blood recipient, but the longer I've been involved in blood drives, the more people I have met who have needed it, and often people will share their stories that they wouldn't unless they knew you were involved with blood donation. And so I remember asking my father, who had heart surgery, and he was like, I don't know, but I guess so. My mother had cancer, and she was a blood recipient. And then I've met students. That student I was talking about who got injured in a longboarding accident. I had a student once who had something happened with her stomach because she had been taking so much Advil for another condition, and it was a bleeding ulcer, and so she needed. So all these stories and afflictions that I never would have considered, because you sort of think there's a certain injury or a certain reason you would need blood, but it's so many people have needed it, and they might not even know that they received it, because you were more concerned about the person, making it through and getting better and things like that. I know a lot of folks in cancer treatments often need it to help them recover from chemotherapy or radiation, and things like that. So it is near and dear to my heart in that people I know have needed it, but the chances are everyone knows someone who needs it. You just might not ever get the chance to know who that is.
And for anybody who's weary of donations, anybody who's fearful, what would you say to them?
Do some research. I would say there's plenty of information online about it. Talk to someone who's donated. Stop by. We're happy to walk people around, show them the ins and outs. We recommend bringing a friend. Now that the pandemic has passed for the most part, we don't have a cap on the number of people who can be in the room. Bring music to distract yourself. But I recommend to everyone that they should at least try it once. If it's not for them, that's great. They can support blood donation in other ways. But you don't know until you try.
What other ways can people support?
So you can volunteer. So we've had a whole team downstairs of volunteers of checking people in, helping them, once they're done donating, getting them food and drink, and chatting with them, making sure they have a good experience. You can recruit donors. We have a little recruitment team operating the last couple weeks. Just raise awareness, do research. Blood is really fascinating, and it's been a while since I did a deep dive, but every person's blood has different characteristics that makes them a better donor for certain people. So I have a colleague who his blood, whatever his characteristics are, makes him a great match for the neonatal unit. So teeny tiny babies can get his blood, but my blood would not be as useful. And so, folks with different illnesses need different things. So it's not just the blood type, but there's also characteristics that.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's
that's
fascinating.
Cool.
Yeah. And I'm not a science person, but the more I learn about it, the more fascinated I am, and the more motivated I am to, share facts and get people excited about it.
Well, I think that's all I got.
Thank you again to Kate Johnson for giving the Blue Banner a bit of her time. If you want to donate or have any questions about donating, you can find the address and phone number of the American Red Cross Blood Donation Center located in Asheville on the screen. If you wish to volunteer, you can find all the information you need from the hyperlink on the screen. Thank you.